So, Batman, you're here at Arkham Asylum for some help, some counseling. What seems to be the problem?
Look, I'm just upset that I wasn't in the new Suicide Squad movie as much as I thought I'd be.
And you're actually upset about that? I mean, people thought this movie sucked. Why would you want to be in something that sucked?
Wait, this movie sucked?
Well, yeah, critics are smashing the hell out of it, saying it was just a complete disappointment.
Oh, no way. I gotta tell the people.
Look, after the session, I'm sure we can sort out...
No, it's gotta be now. I've gotta go now. Don't charge me for this one.
Don't you think someone like him actually belongs in Arkham Asylum? What is up, guys? Matt here again from Chunky's Reviews, finally back with my review for Suicide Squad, the heavily anticipated follow-up to Batman vs Superman. Now, first off, I want to say this movie got absolutely shit on. People hated this thing. People are calling it a disappointment. We deserve better. This film has nothing to offer. And was it too harsh? Well, yes and no. Basically, I thought this movie was okay. I went in with really low expectations, and to be honest, it surprised me. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. However, it is not a perfect film. It's not even a great film, and I'm going to go into why. Firstly, the brief plot. Now, we have the Suicide Squad. They're all detainees, they're all in prison, and they're all villains. Amanda Waller kind of acts like a figure for national security. She wants to create a team of humans with super abilities to kind of combat a super villain. She believes that, let's say the next Superman comes along and he wants to ruin the world instead of save it. Who are we going to have? Well, let's make an insurance policy. Cue Suicide Squad. Now, I won't really go into too much about what the villain does and who the villain is. It is a spoiler in my eyes, but then again, the villain is out to take over the world, create an army for their own purposes. Suicide Squad got to go in, take out the villain, and rescue a very important person in the process. Now, the positives that I had with this movie. I really liked the colour scheme this time around. Don't get me wrong, it still had the greys and the blacks, and it still had a very bleak tone, but it mixed in these vibrant bursts of neon colours, and it was great to see because it was going for this sort of style which was keeping in tone with the movie, and this movie tries to give you a tone that's crazy and frenetic, and it really matches, and I didn't mind it compared to the past DC films that we've had, like Batman vs Superman, which was so bleak I was fucking depressed the whole time. It creates a great looking contrast, and it's just a nice change of pace. I didn't mind the style of the film as well. It was very fast paced, it was very crazy. Introductions to the Suicide Squad, guys. That was an awesome start to the film. It got the ball rolling and it got me pumped. Another thing was the soundtrack. I think the soundtrack, it was hit and miss. There were a couple of songs that really didn't need to be there. They were just random. They're thrown in to really up the ante and make the film feel more fun. I don't think they were needed, but some of the songs in the soundtrack, guys, they actually did fit. They got the moment going and I was pumped. Alrighty, so a lot of the positives flow into the characters of the Suicide Squad. Now let me say this first. There is some decent character development. The first half an hour of the film actually does that. It sets aside a certain section that is just dedicated to going through each of the characters and introducing them, their abilities, and kind of their origin story, if you will. Now, Deadshot, played by Will Smith, and Harley Quinn, played by Margot Robbie, they really steal the show. You see them as the leaders. They have the most, screen time, and they're great. They're good characters. I think, thankfully, we have good actors to pull these characters off. I really liked Harley Quinn, especially. She was just bonkers, but she was also dangerous and sexy and anything in between, and I loved her. She was awesome. Will Smith as Deadshot, dude, you are the most charming man I've seen. You pull it off with whatever you do. You're a badass. With the rest of the Suicide Squad as a whole, Killer Croc, Diablo, Katana, Rick Flag as their leader, Captain Boomerang. If I'm forgetting anyone, I'm going to put in the captions. They do have some genuine chemistry as well. I don't want to really go into spoilers and moments of this film. There is a specific bar scene. They're just sitting in a bar, they're having a chat, and while it doesn't last long, the chemistry created there is really strong, and that's one of the best scenes in the film where they just get to stop and talk about issues, that they've come across. Now, if it wasn't for Amanda Waller really making them do this, pretty much threatening them with their lives, they are still bad guys. They are still villains. They're not trying to be good. They're not trying to impress you with how heroic they are. One character that did surprise me was Jai Courtney as Captain Boomerang. He had a lot of humor, a lot of fun, made this film kind of keep up the crazy tone that it was trying to do. It was a pleasant surprise. Now, while I did like the Suicide Squad themselves, everything else around this movie kind of starts to crumble. Now, there was some wasted potential. Characters like Slipknot, they weren't even introduced. They were barely introduced and they were barely used. Shit character. Another character you guys might want to hear about? The Joker. Now, Jared Leto had so much hype to play this character. The next incarnation that we've seen in film pretty much since The Dark Knight. I'm here to say, guys, I didn't love it. Now, there were some things that I liked. I liked the style. I actually kind of liked the look as well. I think it was a decent look. Something new, something we haven't seen. But that's all that we haven't seen. I think the performance is something that we have seen in various, Batman iterations, whether it be comics, whether it be film, or whether it be cartoon, anything like that. He brought nothing new. He wasn't terrible, he just brought nothing new. And look, to his credit, in today's day and age, we've seen so much of Batman and the Joker and all these iconic, characters, heroes and villains. It's really hard to do something new. But he tried. It just didn't really stand out for me. At the same time, he was also a wild card in this film. He's not in as much as you think he is. He doesn't really play a pivotal role. He's just kind of thrown in there at certain sections. I will say this. I won't go into too much about the villains because I didn't really know who the villain was going to... I did know to an extent, but I didn't know exactly who the villain was going to be and their motivations for doing so. So I won't really tell you guys. All I'm going to say is the actual villain doesn't have enough motivation. I don't know why... they would go to these lengths to really do what they want. I just didn't think they had enough development. It could have been a better villain. If you had had the Joker as the villain, I might have been a bit more impressed and intrigued. But this villain was kind of just slapped in there, and the ending wasn't really exciting for it. All in all, guys, I did enjoy this film to an extent. The Suicide Squad and their characters are actually quite enjoyable. The style of this film was something different, and they did try to set it apart from Batman vs Superman. So I commend them for that. The fact that they tried. Did they pull it off? Well, not really. Some things to be desired. But look, guys, this is still an okay watch. I enjoyed things about this movie while I didn't enjoy some, but it was not a complete crock of shit. 26% on Rotten Tomatoes. Come on, guys. That's a bit harsh. But at the end of the day, that's your opinion, and this is mine. Hope you enjoyed the review, guys. This is Matt from Chunky's Reviews, and I'll see you soon.